Hi you guys, me and Mila back from Russia trip. So I wanted to do a little chit chat video because you guys were so sweet in my last video. Not all of ya, not all of ya, but most of you were. Thanks. How do you like my house dress? In Russia everybody wears a house dress, and I remember my mom wearing a house dress. So it's like a robe, usually with the zipper or buttons that you just wear at home. I miss my teas so much. I might have this one, the green. Pouring water into your teacup should be a meditative portion of your day. Listening to the stream of water, getting the first whiff of the tea in your face. Oh, so good. Okay, so I'm planning on doing this video kind of in a chit-chatty way. It might take a longer time than I usually have for these vlogs because I feel very brave. So I might be talking more than I should be today. I hope you're ready. So our trip to Russia with me and Mila has been incredible. Never regret a moment of any trip that I have ever had, especially this one. Number one thing why I decided to go is because, what the heck? Like, what is there to wait for? What is there to wait for? My child has never seen her grandfather. And like my last grandfather died when I was like 5 years old, and I have virtually almost no memories with him, even though I probably have had some communications. I have zero pictures, and it makes me feel sad. And this is our one and only grandfather and my one and only dad that I don't get to see a lot. So I have traveled this winter, as you know, by myself, first time in 5 years to Russia. And I thought it would be like much harder. It wasn't that bad. So I decided to take Mila with me this time. We kind of decided last moment. We went to Michigan trip. It was incredible. The sensation of like the family, the hangouts, the get like, you know how it feels. Happy family that's not perfect always feels nice. So, and I was like, man, I just wish Mila could go to Russia with me and have some of the memories that I remember having in Russia, like the village life, the countryside life. Indescribable to me. The wild spirit that you have with your cousins running around, going crazy things, with no technology, no schedules, just kind of doing whatever the heck you want that minute. And I don't know. I just was like, you know what? I have an opportunity. We should do it. We are healthy. Everything's okay. We're safe. We can do this. So I've agreed to a few extra jobs and sponsorships to pay for the trip. And me and Daryl were like, me and Mila should go. Daryl didn't go because, well, number one thing, he doesn't speak he doesn't speak Russian almost at all. He knows wonderful words, but it's not enough to have like a real communication. So when I go with him, it's a little bit extra work for me. I won't lie, but no hate, but I won't lie. It's a lot of work for me, really, because I have to translate every single thing back and forth. Not just to him, but to my family, and then translate it back to him. So I'm kind of torn in this little position of not being fully present. I just have to constantly take care of someone. And if I have my kid with me, it's like so much extra work. And, he agreed that he wouldn't mind just spending some time by himself. And, it worked out great. Our trip was pretty easy, I have to say. We only had a few minor misunderstandings with Mila, mostly when we were traveling during nighttime. And because we're like losing sleep, she's a 4-year-old, so it kind of stressed her out a little bit. But, we pushed through, and I'm actually very proud of her. Surprisingly, the longer flight, the 13-hour flight ended up being an easier one than the 4-hour flight. So that's just something nobody knew. I'll just sit with you and have some tea, okay? I know the political side of it, it's all intense and all that kind of stuff, but really, in reality, when you are in the country, there's nothing actually happening. I haven't seen anything happen that would make me feel unsafe besides one thing. And that's when we were in a summer house and there were some random dudes And they were like almost tracking our family down. Everybody got that feeling that they were like watching us very closely, how many people we have in our family, like where we live and stuff like that. So that was kind of sketchy. But after that, we kind of moved back to condo from summer house right after that, just to be safe. And nothing really happened. We do have pretty big family there. So, it just was something we all didn't appreciate. So, but honestly, criminals are everywhere. So it's not like that. The positive things that I have seen happen and the negative things that I have seen happen in Russia are these. And I'm just saying it with very biased and unbiased opinion at the same time. I'm both citizen in Russia and in the United States. Very proud to be both citizenships of both countries. Cultures are extremely different. It also creates this dimension in you as a person when you have multiple cultures present in you, and you can submerge yourself into each one and kind of live almost a different life. It makes you feel good, makes you feel, again, multidimensional. And it's one of my superpowers, I feel like. I was born in Russia and I was raised in Russia until 18. I was 18, and then after 18 into my now 37 years, I have been living in the United States almost exactly half of my other life. So as an adult, I'm an American, but as a child, I am Russian. So I feel like that's incredible. So anyway, I wanted to give that to my daughter too, as much as I can. She spoke Russian so well, and she still does. She like shows off in front of her dad, says random words in Russian, like just to kind of ha ha ha, you don't know. And I think it's super cute. So back to the last thing. So some of the negative things that I've noticed happening in Russia after the 2022 started with the war in Ukraine. First of all, they still do not call it war. Over there, it's called a special operation. They still don't call it war, and they still insist that it's not an act of war. So I would like to talk to you about the things that are kind of more surface versus like political views and what's happening and very detailed. You can look it all up online from both Russian side, Ukrainian side, and United States side. So it's all very different, and everybody's opinions are different. I won't get in the middle because I'm not here to tell you what to think. The negative things that I've experienced during this trip is some kind of weird tension with the dollar. I don't know what's happening with the dollar, but they did not want to take my money. They don't use Visa there, well, because of the SWIFT program that Russia has been kicked out from. So there's virtually no banking that can be done outside the United States. So if I come with any of my cards, none of them will be usable. So I have to bring cash. Cash has to be perfect. I mean, brand new bills. I had to go to banks and ask them to please, can you give me brand new dollars? And they're like, there's no such a thing. So I had to sit and sort through a lot of dollars and then give them back and say, can you give me a different batch? And I would get another batch and I will sift through them as well for like a long period of time and hold up the line shamelessly. But for some reason, they just do not accept anything that's not virtually brand new. Any folds, any tiny little marking, any rip that's like 1 millimeter will not be accepted. Before, they would just give you a lower rate. Like a few years back, they would just give you a lower rate for that dollar. So like if it's like 100 rubles per dollar, they would give you like 80 or 70, depending on the condition of the dollar. Now they just don't take it. They're just like, not welcome, take it back, thanks. They just don't want it. So that was difficult. We went to six different banks with my sister to try and exchange dollars, and they did not accept dollars at all. So they are trying to get away from dollar as much as they can. Only a few banks that you like a really good customer of and have certain program in, then they would accept it. Again, only brand new ones. So that was very weird. But it also tells me that they're trying to have a huge push away from dollar as much as they can. I don't know what that means in the future, but that's what it is. So I don't know what that would mean for a dollar if a whole country would step away fully from it. I'm sure there will be some kind of effect felt worldwide. Even transfers in dollars from any other country to Russia, if possible, like through Google Payments, right now are almost not accepted. They charge you like half of that price, whatever you're getting. That's without any tax. So that was weird too. On the positive side, I do see a lot of Russian internal companies rise up and just replacing previously imported products and services. Which I think is kind of a cool thing, actually. I think more countries should be doing that. So a lot of imported things have been taken out from Russia. So now local businesses and services have stepped up their game, or were given an opportunity to compete with that market and now level it, like top it. So their own brands are now topping their own market, which is kind of cool if you think about it as well. But also, import is a valuable asset for every country. But that's just something I've noticed. Just if you're interested, just a few things I wanted to mention that I found interesting. I also was excited to go to Russia because I end up doing a lot of physical exams, like medical exams there. Here in the United States, I don't know. It's probably my choices of healthcare that are not great. I don't know where to go and what to ask for here. I, it, like I said before, like I went to a doctor's office. I had terrible back pain. I wrote to her messages and she was like, I'm sure it's fine, but if you want, I can see you. So I would come to her office and she kind of checked me for any nerve damage and stuff like that. And she's just a regular primary care physician. And she was very adamant that nothing is wrong with me. Even though I had terrible back pain for a few months in a row, she said nothing's wrong with me. And she gave me like a gigantic amount of painkiller to take. She wrote to me prescription for ibuprofen for 800 3 times a day. So I was on extreme amount of painkillers for 5 days. She prescribed to me 7 to 10 days. I couldn't do it after day 5 because it started to hurt my intestines so much that I couldn't eat anymore. Every time I would put something in my mouth, it would literally just like hurt my stomach so bad. And it would get me this feeling of like, I don't know, fattening. Is that a thing? That's how it felt, like not emotional fattening, but like my stomach, my body didn't feel great. So I got off those painkillers. Of course they helped because I was like numbed up as if I was after surgery. And as soon as I got off of them, everything came right back. So it didn't help. I wish I just didn't take them at all. Partially my fasting came from that because my intestines hurt so bad. And when I told her that, like, hey, ibuprofen is really messing with my stomach. Like, what can I do? Like, is there something else I can do? And she was like, well, I'll prescribe you another pill that you can take with ibuprofen. And I was like, okay, thanks. Okay, I appreciate that. You're not gonna help me. Thank you. So I got off the ibuprofen and I started researching everything on my own because, I just kind of gave up. I'm like, okay, I guess nothing's wrong with me. So I'll just figure out on my own what's wrong with me. And I know I should have asked for a second opinion, but at that point I'm like, listen. And when I researched how to restore the intestine health, a lot of things referenced fasting as an optional form of restoring your gut health. I wasn't really planning on doing it long term per se. To do the fasting, I did a few fasts that actually did make me feel better. And people, will say, hey, it's terrible, blah, blah, blah. It's, everybody has an opinion about everything. So I understand that. And I actually really do appreciate you guys talking to me about eating disorders in the video and saying that fasting is kind of a step towards an eating disorder. I suppose I can see that. Again, I wasn't doing it for weight. So I wasn't really punishing my body or restricting my diet on purpose of losing as much weight as I could. I actually was trying to treat my stomach because it was hurting so bad whenever I would eat something. So then when I wouldn't eat, it actually felt good. So again, I know I was self-treating myself. I get it. But it did help. As much as people can say, Hey, it's terrible, but I fasted for almost 2 weeks, I'd say. I wasn't doing a day fasts every day. Obviously, I was doing like 18 hours. I would basically just skip breakfast and have an early dinner. And I would have like about 2 meals per day. So I would have like lunch and then a dinner, or a light lunch and then a heavy dinner. And then I would just wouldn't eat until next lunch. And it felt good. It didn't feel like I was struggling at all. And then as I was researching more fasting, more people said, you should try longer fasts to give your body even more time to restore. So I tried them a few days in a row and I feel great. Again, it really did help with my stomach. It didn't hurt anymore after that. So I don't know if it's BS or not. I don't know what to tell you. And then I just kind of continued, not every day, but sometimes I would just skip breakfast. I'm like, you know what? I can skip breakfast. And that's it. And I would just eat lunch. I felt lighter and nicer. A few times I would feel like almost lightheaded. So I'm like, okay, I think I should eat soon. That's it. It was never really kind of an emotional a way to, again, like control my body and like, you know, fix my weight per se. So that's why I was doing it, really. But I do appreciate, again, you sharing the stories with me. I did not appreciate the when people would like bring up my daughter and tell me like low key, like, mom shame me. How dare you to try anything with your body or your life, because it could traumatize your daughter. And I'm like, wow, okay, thanks so much, you guys. I didn't appreciate that. I don't think that's fair. But I do see the sentiment. I see that you're coming from a good place. I appreciate that. And I love you and I don't judge you. I understand there are a lot of issues and a lot of parenting that affects people. And, I do need to hear stories like that, honestly, just to kind of check my own bullshit level. Am I being honest with myself, or am I doing something else that can affect my daughter? Am I showing her the best version of myself so she can be the best version of herself? I do see that, yeah. So, okay, what else? So, as I was saying, I also went to check on my medical conditions in Russia, and I actually ended up getting an MRI. So in Russia, the healthcare is free. If you're a citizen, you can apply for the free medical health. I do also love that Russia is in between medicine. So they absolutely go by Western medicine, by all of the latest medications and treatments that are in Western medicine, like United States and Europe, but they also include and believe in Eastern medicine in addition to the Western medicine. So when you come to see a doctor, they oftentimes would prescribe you to go do tests done and exams, but they will also refer you to like an acupuncture, or as they call physiotherapy, which is not physical therapy, but physiotherapy. And that's when they like treat you with magnets and like red light. Anything you have, like they would actually give you physiotherapy. I don't know how else to explain it, which is kind of cool because it's, again, not invasive, but also still a different level. It's not medicated. So I also really liked that they had no filter. So most of my doctors were very intimidating in Russia. They would just like not smile, like, what's the problem? And I was like, okay, well, that's what it is. Okay. And like, they were very intimidating. They were not smiley and cutesy. They were nice and kind, but they were very straightforward. And then whatever comes to their educated mind, they would just tell me without any filter. Like, again, like when I did get an MRI for my back, it's like an MRI scan. So I was in that little thing that makes a terrible loud noise. And they did like my spine and my hip bones, like my hip structure, to see for any disbalance and stuff, which by the way, I paid for myself. I couldn't wait for the insurance to cover it because, well, just the preparation would take much longer. Since it's free healthcare, it takes much longer for you to get in line for anything. So a few services I did have to do through payment, which was not even a payment, honestly. So my MRI costed me under $100, and it took me 45 minutes to do it. Here in the United States, I can't even imagine. It would be probably like 5 grand at least to do an MRI. That's through insurance. I think for free, it would probably cost me like 10,000, maybe, just off top of my head. The bottom line is I went to see a neurologist there with my back issues, and he said that I do have a slight bulging of 2 discs in the lower back. So like my L5 and S1 have a slight bulging, and my L4 and L5 also have a little bit of bulging disc. But he said the type of bulging that I have is very minimum. It's at the very early stage. And he was honest with me, and he says, it's still muscular pain. You do have problems with muscle tone, which is what causing the disbalance of the spinal cord. And he was very honest too. He's like, you really could do a bunch of different medications, but the number one thing that would help you right now is physical therapy. That's all you can do right now. You need to strengthen your core, all of your hips. You need to go to physical therapist and go through a few months of treatment and have a true like physical exercise and evaluation done on your body, especially your middle of the body, anything that has to do with your spine. And he says that is something that will help you more than anything else will ever help you in life. So that's what he said. He gave me the whole spiel about how we are monkeys and that we forgot with our big heads that we need to, sometimes think less and move more, that our bodies were made to move, not to sit and think for a long time. And it was kind of interesting. He kind of took me back to the gravity, how our bodies are supposed to be moving, all that kind of stuff. So that was kind of cool. He was also like, literally, no bullshit. He's just like, everybody's going to have a bulging disc. He literally said that. He says, everyone you know will most likely have some version of a bulging disc. It just, some of them will have a painful bulging disc, and some of them will never know that they have a bulging disc just because their bodies are made differently or their muscles are more toned in that area. So it was kind of cool to hear. I went to urologist, like with my, well, anyway, with some of my UTI problems, blah, blah, blah. He also very honest, very cool experience, very kind of gave me a lot of pointers and a lot of supplements to take that are not medicated to kind of restore my health in that sense. So I would be taking them for like 2 to 3 months. I appreciate the supplements more than medication because I'm kind of tired of medications. Is anybody else tired of medication prescriptions? Like everything has to be diagnosed and everything has to be treated medically. He literally prescribed me some like herbal supplements and he says this will help. I'm like, okay, thanks. I went to see an OBGYN person too. They did a bunch of ultrasounds of me and different blood tests and stuff like that. So I kind of was able to track all of my like ovulation and stuff like that. And it was also very interesting. I was never offered any of these procedures in the United States. When I just went to see an OBGYN, she's like, okay, let's go count your follicles. I'm like, okay, let's do it. And it was a blood test, surprisingly, like to count, how fertile you are and how many ovulations you have. And then they did like a bunch of ultrasounds. They gave me so much information. They like commented on my C-section scar and like all this kind of stuff. Like it was really fascinating. Whenever I go to ultrasound here in the United States, not one word, not one peep, not one word. They're not allowed to talk to you as a technician, I suppose. Anything you ask, like the doctor will tell you. I'm like, okay, fine, thanks. But they're like, she was very descriptive with everything. She's like, I'm not diagnosing you. I'm just telling you exactly what I'm seeing. And I'm just commenting out loud. If you're interested, I'm like, I would love to hear it. Thanks. So that was cool too. The bottom line is I've learned a lot. I'm very excited. I've also learned that I don't like my friends in the United States. Can I say that out loud? I'm just gonna be brave and bold and say, I'm not okay with my friends in here. I've surrounded myself with a certain group of people. And I feel like my closeness to moms, per se, um, comes from like the fear of judgment of being a mom by myself and not knowing really what to do. But I've also, again, noticed, well, you know what? I'm gonna start making myself some lunch because it's been a long time. Okay. So as I was saying, I'm not cool with some of the friends that I've made here. I feel like I've made friends based on a fear of being rejected and a fear of needing someone, anyone that will agree to be my friend, to be my friend. So now I've surrounded myself with people who don't really care about me. And most of the time I have to instigate, like invite everybody over to please come and hang out with me. But whenever I would spend time with them, it still would leave me a little bit empty and kind of like nothing really happened. We would just drink a lot and bitch and moan about lives, which is cute and nice sometimes. But also, like, after a while, I'm like, is that really it? So I don't know. Am I in the wrong? Am I complaining too much? Am I bitching and moaning too much? Or am I just being real? I don't know. After like I was talking to my sister, to some of my friends in Russia, it was so easy. I don't know how to explain it. Like when you have your people that know you and kind of on your side, it's so easy. You don't have to control what you're saying. You don't have to like pretend that you're something that you're not. You don't have to hush your mouth every single time some kind of topic comes along. You know what I'm saying? And so my wish to fit in has kind of stopped me from being who I am. And I understand that. Also, again, after I gave birth to Mila, I have lost my identity. I still haven't found it. I have an idea of who I want to be, and I try to go towards that, but it does change. So here I have some greens, eggs, well, an egg and a half, avocado, cucumber, lemon oil, salt, and a little bit of fat-free ranch. So I actually had some grilled corn that I'm just going to add in here too, instead of the peas. Okay, well, I felt scared and proud. I feel like I own what I am, and I can be who I want to be. And I can change a lot of things. I can take responsibility for things. When I was in Russia, you know, they talk a lot about how your parents have ruined you, gave you all of the traumas in your life. And while it's true, I also feel like as an adult, a responsible adult, you do need to take responsibility for your actions and your decisions and not really just blame everything on past traumas. Some of the traumas have been created through happy memories. I think some of the good things have come out from bad things, and vice versa. Some of the bad things have come up through good things. So I've just learned to kind of let go, forgive my parents for whatever it is that they gave me. Also be grateful for everything they have given me, all of the opportunities, all of my brain, my genetics, everything that I was given was a gift. And I can be nothing but grateful for that. So I forgive and forget. And I choose to do the same thing for me and for Mila too. And anyway, I also have a few friends here, well, friends, acquaintances that I have made a connection with. And I do see them as more bold and open-minded women. So I already wrote to them and said, hey, you're a cool chick. I'd like to hang out more with you. And, you know, one of them said yes already. So it's also been weird growing older as a woman I know I'm 37, so a lot of you are like, you're so young. I get it. I get it. But for me, I'm the oldest I have ever been. But I'm also the youngest I will ever be. Yes, that's right. And I like that. I don't like that again when I go to doctors and they're like, well, what do you want? You're 37. You're getting older. Things are going to start falling apart and they're going to start hurting. That's just what it is. Stop complaining and embrace it. I'm like, okay, thanks. I'm old. A lot of my problems are now age related. I also really liked being in Russia and not having too much access to any social media that I usually am on. YouTube was accessible, so I did watch a lot of videos on YouTube. But a lot of times I actually didn't have any connection at the summer house, like literally zero. So I couldn't even write a message to my husband for a few days. And it was liberating. I was bored and I felt great. I had a book downloaded on my phone and I really got happily into reading it. And it was written by a wonderful woman. I do not remember her last name. Her first name is Glennon, and it's the book that's called Untamed. It was popular a few years back, and I forgot that I have purchased and downloaded it on my Kindle on my phone. And I had it saved, and it was literally one of the only things I could watch when I had no connection to internet. Well, I'm sorry, read. So I was reading it, and I actually fell in love with her style and her as a person. I almost finished reading it. I have like 50 pages left out of like 330 or something. So I'm also very proud of myself for actually reading through almost the whole book. And I read some yesterday late night instead of going through Facebook. And I loved it. I really am going to do more of that now. I do always think about myself like in the future. What am I going to be like? What am I going to look like? The always prevalent part of my visual personality that I see myself as an older woman as I grow, I would like to be a permanent feature is a big smile, big earrings. I don't know why, don't ask me. And good nails. These three things will have to be just the biggest part of my personality forever. Probably blonde hair too. I'm going to try stop fighting myself as much and just kind of be who I am more. And if, people fall off my life, great. Let them go, right? Might as well now than later. I'm sure there's a lot more we can talk about, but I won't. I'll go show you my garden. So I came back and everything is like tripled in size in just 1 month. And I'm so excited to see it. So I'm going to show you. So I'm just going to show you a few things, okay? And I have not even gone out with my hose or my clippers or anything, so I need a lot of work to do in my yard. So let me show you some of the things. My beautiful Bolero rose has also doubled in size. I'm so excited. I have a lot of deadheading, a lot. But man, this is one of the best smelling roses I have ever witnessed. It smells incredible. Also very beautiful blooms, right? I also have planted a lemon. It's a Mayer lemon, and these, I really have to water it. These are new growth. It literally doubled in size and it's supposed to be dwarf, so I'm a little bit worried because I thought it would be kind of a patio tree. Okay, this is a lemon that is growing. I also really like these little fluffies. Isn't that just the cutest little thing? What's it called? I always leave the name now. Euphorbia, breathless white. How cute is this? It's gonna spill over. It's gonna look really pretty. I wanted to show you this thing because look how huge that has gotten. Isn't that crazy? Look, it's basically full shade in there now. Everything is so lush and so huge. Now it's an intertwine of tomatoes. Right there, it's literally so tall. Then I also have a pumpkin in here, and I actually have a little baby pumpkin, which I'm very excited about. I'm gonna try to pollinate this one, hand pollinate it when it opens up, because this is also a female. And I have a few male flowers that are coming up, so I'm gonna wait for them to open up, and I'm gonna try to hand pollinate that one. So I have maybe 2 pumpkins. This is my gigantic, excuse me, lemongrass. Did not expect it to get that huge. I've planted a few different wonderfully smelling plants. This is lemon balm. Oh, I cannot describe how good this sounds, but this smells for you. I've also planted stevia. How cool is that? You're supposed to dry it and then kind of mortar it into a powder almost, and then blend it into a blender, and you can use it as a fresh sweetener. Don't have to be processed. Oregano. More thyme. Thyme is my love. I have so many different thymes. Bottom line is, I wanted you to see this one. It's literally one part with the crabapple now, which is crazy. Looks cool. Also, look at the difference in my tree. Do you see how it has turned green? Some of the leaves did get burned. It's normal for Japanese maples to get burned in the heat of the summer when it's in the hundreds. Some of the like top leaves that are closest to the sun will get burned. It's kind of a normal thing. But the ones in the shade, they just would turn more green. So look at that. They're kind of red tipped. I love this tree so much, you guys. It's just every season it's a different color. You would never find a tree like that. It doesn't have flowers, so that's the only thing. You know, but how beautifully charming. Every season it's a different color. This is bloodgood, if you're interested. Also, before I left, I have planted this rose, and it's doing great, as you can tell. This is called Firefighter, and it was in a pot. It wasn't doing as great in the pot, so after a year, I decided to just plant it back in the soil. So we did that. I had to lift it off the ground a little bit because I have a lot of standing water in this area. So I had to like lift it off almost a foot and kind of make a little bit of a hump, and then I put some moss and grass over it. Look how good it's doing. I can't believe it. Prolific bloomer. Again, I planted it literally a month ago, so that's that. I wouldn't like give it too much worry about the burn of the leaves and stuff, because again, literally just planted it. So it could have gone through a lot of shock. It smells amazing. Firefighter, one of the best smelling roses I've ever tried. Beautiful kind of fuchsia pink. They're bright. Supposed to be red, but it really does look more like fuchsia pink. So this is my garden after I came back. Okay guys, thanks so much for watching and for listening. And I hope you have enjoyed this video as much as I have. Thanks so much for talking to me. I feel like we're really best friends at this point, right? We know so much about each other. And I thank you again for being here. Bye-bye.